A rural way of life under threat. Farming, shooting, land management and conservation are all being targeted. The Welsh Government is calling the shots. People on the ground are revolting. For hundreds of years, the ancestors of farmer Gareth Wyn-Jones have fought the elements on their hill farm in North Wales. Now Gareth and his family are facing a new enemy, politicians. The Welsh Government's rural agency, Natural Resources Wales, proposes to issue licences for all game bird release. It's holding a 12-week consultation ending on June 20th, 2023. Gareth, who also shoots and fishes, says it's an attack on the rural way of life in Wales.
The Welsh consultation is something, it's a little bit frightening, a little bit scary. When I heard of it in the beginning, I thought, what was the point of it? Consultation's some things that we need sometimes, but on this kind of subject, I'm really unsure what it's going to bring, because, the release of game birds in Wales is a very important part of our rural economy, of our way of life, and as a person that shoots on a small syndicate, 16 people, and they're all from different occupations. It's an amazing little shoot. I've been going there years, since my children were little.
BACEC warns the proposals reflect the anti-shooting agenda of the Labour-led Welsh Government.
If it became too bureaucratic, shoots wouldn't go ahead. Jobs would be lost. Literally, as someone who lives in Wales, we really risk losing an absolute integral part of the countryside. It's so vital. If you go into a local pub in the area I live, you will see how shooting is absolutely in the whole fabric. It's in the fabric of the community, it's in the fabric of the hills and the woods. It's just there. It's what's helped shape the countryside.
The Countryside Alliance in Wales says it's vital people make their voices heard and respond to the consultation.
It is really important that you engage with the political system through organisations like the Countryside Alliance, who are continuously lobbying on your behalf. And you need to get to know your members of the Senedd, and you need to sell your story. Now, where will this all end? I think the Minister has made up her mind. She wants to licence the release of game birds in Wales. She wants to control game bird shooting in Wales. And don't forget, in her closing remarks in the Senedd during that debate, when I was sitting in the gallery and you can see the body language and you can hear the heckles coming from the opposite benches, she said that they do not support the killing of things for leisure. And her closing line was, people need to change their behaviours. So Welsh Government are going to force you, apparently, to change your behaviour. And that, in her eyes, I firmly believe, is to pack your shotguns away and to give up your shooting.
I believe everybody should be vocal, because it starts here, and maybe people in Scotland, Ireland, England might think it won't bother them. But if this, gets passed and things then start to tighten up, it'll come to you. It'll be in your back garden next, and it'll be on your shoot. So if we don't come together as country folk and as, people that go shooting, we could lose it. So I think it's important that everybody in the UK has a look at this consultation and fills it and puts their 6 pennies worth in, so they understand how passionate and how powerful the country people can be. Because if we're not pulling together, we can never go forward.
Eddie Field is a new sheep farmer in South Wales. He moved back home to buy a farm and raise his animals.
Not just an anti-shooting government, I think we have an anti-countryside farming rural government here. It's pathetic. It's a way that they're just trying to get their foot through the door, so to speak, to start getting rid of country pursuits. First, it's going to be, licensing it so they can choose then who gets to put birds down and whether or not they can. And then it's going to be, okay, these places are going to lose, a massive part of the community is going to be affected by it. And yeah, I think it's just their way of getting in and going, right, we're going to get rid of this. And then as history's shown us in the past, it will be the next thing. It will be, they'll probably stop fishing before long and everything else. And yeah, no, it's just going to damage the whole sort of country community as such.
If the proposals are approved with no changes, the first step will be a general licences system for most shoots. Those near to protected sites will have to apply for a specific licence if they want to release pheasants or red-legged partridges. It could mean the end of shooting for people like Mike Evans, who runs a small shoot in mid-Wales for his family and close friends.
It'd be the end of our freedom out here, another ticket, if you like, towards our way of life. You know, as countryside people, as rural people who've grown up doing this for generations, it's just, well, it's another strike, isn't it? And soon, where'd they go next? You know, the fox hunting, it's gone. Pheasant shooting is definitely next on the list, without a doubt. Game shooting. So yeah, where does it stop? Fishing next? You know, everything's got a time limit, I'm afraid, at the moment, and they're cutting down on us.
Mike is also concerned that if he has to register his personal details, it may attract antis.
My main concern is the fact that my family home, where I live, this little farm we've got here, it's going to be on a register, and the people who can access that scare me. You know, I worry that it'll put my family at risk. You know, we know what the antis are like, the extremists, animal rights. We know the trouble. You know, I've got friends who are involved with legal trail hunting and the abuse that they've witnessed. Yeah, I don't want to sign myself up for that, and I think this is one of the outcomes of signing up to something like this, putting my name and address, out there for people who don't agree with what I do to find.
Liam Tapp is a shooter and deer stalker who used to run a gun shop in Wales. He fears the government is targeting shooters.
It'll start with they're talking about licensing, putting it on a system similar to the general licence, but it's not going to cost anything to do it. You're not going to have to apply, but it's the thin end of the wedge. The Welsh Government are after Fieldsports in Wales.
NRW admits that game shooting provides environmental, social and economic benefits.
It's infuriating a bit because we're treated like what we do is wrong. The Welsh Government have very little understanding of the management of the countryside. They live in a very small metropolitan bubble in Cardiff Bay and are not interested in the lifestyles of people outside of that.
Fieldsports groups have launched campaign platforms to encourage people to have their say.
So none of us want to pack our shotguns away or see the end of game shooting here in Wales, and I do believe that the volume of responses to this consultation will make a significant difference. Natural Resources Wales, when they banned game shooting on public land, the Minister referred to a petition of just over 11,000 signatures who had apparently called for that ban. Those signatures came in from all over the world when the Countryside Alliance dissected each and every one of those signatures and the origin from where they came from. So we need to blow that figure out of the water, and we need to make sure that everybody who partakes in shooting responds to that consultation.
Gareth is determined to fight for his family's legacy of centuries of farming, shooting and fishing in the Welsh Hills.
And it's really, really imperative that people speak up about it. Because if we lose our rights and our way of life, it could be devastating for the next generation. Because once it's taken away, it will never be put back.
The links to the campaigns by PACEC and the Countryside Alliance and where to respond to the NRW consultation are below.